It's the dream of every cricketer, the ultimate glory. Few manage to keep their date with destiny. But for many, it's been heartbreaks and a cross to bear. The Holy Grail is here in India. I'm Rupha Ramani, and Firstpost brings you the ringside view. We bring you the Cup of Dreams. Cricket World Cup coverage like never before.
It's over! He's done it again! Unbelievable!
Oh, straight into the roof of the net.
Nice one.
Straight down the middle. So a good performance.
Hi, hope you're all having a great day. I'm Rupha Ramani, and welcome to Firstpost. Now it's day one of the Cricket World Cup here in India. Sachin Tendulkar kick-started the proceedings, declaring the 2023 World Cup open. What a grand opening it's had in the biggest stadium, the Narendra Modi Cricket Stadium in Ahmedabad. That's where the tournament has begun, and that's where it is going to end on the 19th of November. And you'll catch all of the action, all of the analysis and the fervour and buzz of the World Cup right here on Firstpost with the Cup of Dreams. Now, the Asian Games as well is drawing in towards its last few days. India has taken the most number of medals in their Asian Games history, and everyone is still counting. What's in store for our show today? Let's take a look at our lineup. Now, there are 4 more teams left to profile. The 2 teams we are featuring today are from the subcontinent. First up, Sri Lanka. They have been World Cup winners, and what a cricketing legacy they have had. And the second team, Bangladesh, that came into the ICC fold just 23 years ago. And Asian Games coverage continues here on Firstpost. We look at some of the top winners from last night. Just 4 more days to do, and India with 81 medals is inching towards its goal of 100 this edition. That and more coming your way, but here's what's making all the headlines from around the world in Sports 360. The Indian cricket team is in Chennai. The full squad, including local boy R. Ashwin, came out to practice in the afternoon. You even had the coach Rahul Dravid giving Virat Kohli some throwdowns, and just about everyone got their eye in. Their first encounter is against Australia this Sunday. Over in football, FIFA has announced the hosts for the 2030 World Cup. For the first time ever, the matches will be held across 6 nations and 3 continents. Morocco, Spain, Portugal have been named as the co-hosts. Meanwhile, Uruguay, Argentina and Paraguay will host the opening matches. The FIFA 2030 Football World Cup will mark 100 years of the beautiful game's biggest tournament. On to action on the field. Newcastle United handed Paris Saint-Germain a 4-1 defeat at the Champions League last night. The English club scored 2 goals in the first half to take the lead over PSG. In the second half, the Magpies scored again, taking the lead to 3-1. Then French giants PSG scored a goal but continued to trail by 1. During the second half, injury time, Newcastle netted another goal to seal the win 4-1. In MotoGP, Marc Marquez will part ways with Honda after the end of this season. The Spanish rider and Honda have agreed to end their partnership 1 year early on mutual agreement. 30-year-old Marquez has spent 11 seasons with Honda and won 6 world titles for them. Over in tennis, world number 2, Iga Swiatek continues with her domination at the China Open. Poland's Swiatek beat her compatriot Magda Linette 6-1, 6-1 in straight sets. Swiatek will now play the quarterfinal on Friday. And Yannick Sinner won the China Open last night. Italy's Sinner beat Russia's Daniil Medvedev 7-6, 7-6 in a hard-fought encounter. This was the 22-year-old Italian's first win over the Russian in their 7 head-to-head matchups. Now let's start with our Cup of Dreams segment, and as you know, we are previewing teams here in the lead up to the World Cup. And first up today, it's Sri Lanka. For a sporting fan who has grown up watching cricket, it's sort of tough to fathom just how a team that had legacy cricketers like Mahela Jayawardene, Kumar Sangakkara, Arjuna Ranatunga, Mutai Muralidharan, Chaminda Vas, Lasith Malinga is now on the cusp of being and also ran in a tournament like the World Cup. To sort of understand the growth of cricket and what the gentleman whom I mentioned earlier did to pull Sri Lanka into reckoning, you need context. Sri Lanka started playing cricket much later. So picture this: when India was on the cusp of lifting its first World Cup in 1983, Sri Lanka was just making its first steps and only attained the full membership as a test playing cricket nation. They in fact played their first test in 1982. And from there to winning a World Cup in 1996, even though it was in the subcontinent, is just a massive achievement. They even came close to lifting it again in 2007 when Australia faced them in the final, and of course in 2011 against India. Arjuna Ranatunga was a key member of the rise of Sri Lanka as a cricketing nation. He was a gritty leader who backed his boys to the hilt. Everyone remembers the refusal to play if Muthaiya Muralidharan was stopped from bowling. This was a fierce side, and Lions was a tag that suited them quite nicely. Coming from a small island nation, they punched above their weight and then moved on to become regulars and regular world beaters, producing some of the best in the business. Now, from those glory days to now seems like a massive shift. Now, if you just take a look at the squad, you'll know that a bunch of young cricketers led by an all-rounder in Dasun Shanaka. There are some sparks there who can create some magic, but there's also a lot of inexperience that will take a while to foster. So let's decode this side then. Now I'm going with Jack in the Pack first. For me, it's Dinuth Wellalage. He's young and so very promising. From whatever we saw of him at the Asia Cup, this boy is clearly fearless. He can take charge and take the attack to the opposition like he did against India, almost getting the Lankans to win the match from a dire position. And in the absence of their key all-rounder Waninda Hasaranga, Dinuth could be a go-to man for the Lankan think tank. Now next up is the joker in the pack. Now for this one, I will go with another youngster who has just shot into limelight after his stint with the Chennai Super Kings. You know who I'm referring to, it's Matisha Patirana. There is something about being in the dressing room with MS Dhoni and sharing that space that probably transforms you like it has this young man. He's grown confident and alongside Tikshana proved to be a vital cog in the bowling unit. Of course, this is 50-over cricket. It is different, but we are sure that he's learned the lessons and he's moved ahead. Now that's Patirana's innings. If I had to look at what he did for Chennai Super Kings, in 12 matches, he's taken 19 wickets. His best was 4 for 35. And those wickets came particularly at the death, where he's extremely potent with those slinging Yorkers. Now, next up, my ace in the pack. Now, it's a tough one, this. And though I'm tempted to choose the Lankan spinner Tikshana, I will go with Charit Asalanka, the left-hander who has put his head down and the maturity into his knocks. And there's a presence of mind about him which is shining through. Now, Charit Asalanka, if we look at some of his records, his numbers in ODIs, just 41 matches old, about close to 1,300 runs. His best has been 110 and he averages 41. Now, that really says that once he's there, he goes the distance. At just 26, he has shown enough promise of batting through tough situations. And this time around, a lot of the responsibility of leading the batting will be on his shoulders. All right. Let's move on to the next side that we're looking at today, which is Bangladesh. Again, a little complex to sort of pin just what Bangladesh's core quality as a side truly is. They also started cricket later, coming into the ICC fold, as I mentioned, 23 years ago. But the world seems to have leaped past them. But don't get me wrong, they have shown faces of brilliance. They have caused upsets in big tournaments, played spoil sport many a time. We all remember 2007 World Cup. But as a team, they're yet to go past the tag of beating a side like England, New Zealand, Australia or India without it being termed as an upset. That's the question since taking part in their first World Cup in 1999. Bangladesh's best performance at a World Cup till date has been in 2015 when they reached the knockouts beating England. Some of the best Bangladesh players have tried to get the World Cup to sit up and take notice of this subcontinent side. Over the last 2 decades, like Mashrafe Mortaza, Mohammad Rafiq, Abdur Razak, 3 of the biggest names who have not just made Bangladesh a strong cricket nation, but also put their own stamp on international cricket. I have to mention Shakib Al Hasan and Mushfiqur Rahim, along with Mahmudullah. They feature in the squad that Bangladesh is currently. That's again a relatively young squad there. There are some promising talents here too, but largely it's a side dependent on the occasional player doing something special, like his captain. So let's go with our first pick, which is the ace card, and it's undoubtedly Shakib Al Hasan. He's been the pillar for this team, and as captain now, the onus is doubly on him to deliver. But what a colourful last year it's been, and what a complex man at the helm. This is what he brings to the table. Now, when I speak about his all-round skills, we should look at his numbers from the 2019 World Cup. 10 matches there, 606 runs, his highest was 166, and he also took 11 wickets, with his best being 5 for 29. He was the first cricketer to take 500 runs and go past 10 wickets in a single ODI tournament. But thereafter, he led a player strike against the board regarding payment, gets suspended for anti-corruption breaches, and of course, memes of his temper were doing the rounds. Shakib has had a year to remember for many reasons. But let's be honest here, he is the fulcrum around which the fortunes of his team will depend on. And it's perfect that in the subcontinent conditions, he revels as a batter and bowler in these venues. Shakib will be licking his fingers at the prospect of dominating bowling attacks, lower down the middle order and outwitting the best with his guile. All right, next up, we're looking at the joker of the pack, the X factor here in these conditions, and again, someone who is key to set the tempo. And I'm going with Liton Das here. He's the opening bat for Bangladesh, and he's the deputy too. He's had a slow start to his career, but has slowly matured and moved up the ranks to shoulder the responsibility and the charge at the top of the batting lineup. Now, only 6 players in the world have scored more runs at a higher average since the 2019 World Cup, and he's one of them. His recent record in Asia is pretty impressive, where he's made 4 of his 5 ODI hundreds. The big concern for this side, though, is the over-reliability on someone like Shakib. The seniors in the bowling unit particularly, like pacers Taskin Ahmed and Mustafizur Rahman, will have to step up to assist and try and make life easy for the batters. Mustafizur had a decent run-up in the last World Cup, and that's something that he will look to build upon. All right, let's switch focus to Asian Games now. A record haul of medals by Indian athletes was promised, and it is being delivered. At the last edition of the Games, held in Jakarta in 2018, our athletes returned with a record 70 medals. Now, if we just take a look at how that went, 16 goals in Jakarta as opposed to 19 in Hangzhou here now. The silver, of course, another leap there from 23 the last time. And the bronze medals also, there have been a slight improvement. So that's how much we have come far. India has come far from the Asian Games in Jakarta. And so far, with some more days left in the event, India has managed to leap past 70. Every day has proved to be a landmark, especially in Asian Games history for the country. And yesterday was no different. Now, it was the relay boys who left a golden mark on the tracks, but not before another major drama marred the track and field events, especially this one. The spotlight today is on India's golden boy, Neeraj Chopra, who entered the stage after capping off a brilliant season when he got into a controversy. Officials were unable to record the distance he threw in the first attempt, and it appeared well over 87 meters, though. A technical glitch that could have also upset the athlete's rhythm. And Neeraj was asked for a rethrow after that. The javelin final was halted for at least 10 minutes because the judges were figuring out where his javelin had landed. He protested because he knew it was a very good throw.
I would like to thank everybody who supported me. This was the first international event where I was playing to defend my title. It was challenging for me because of the mess after my first throw. Even Jenna threw long distances. It felt good that Indians are challenging each other.
Although all ended well for Neeraj Chopra, he did feel a little disgruntled at the way all this was handled. The rule in javelin is you get 6 attempts. Neeraj and his 75-year-old coach were not at all too pleased. But one of the most heartening aspects of this javelin final was that the stiffest competition for Neeraj came from a compatriot, Kishore Jenna, another promising talent who has come up the ranks. Now, if I give you a glimpse of how the throws went, in fact, his first throw, Neeraj's, was 82.3 meters. That's his throws there. And Kishore Jenna matched him throw for throw. He sort of even went up to the point of 86.7, which was ahead of Neeraj at one situation before Neeraj, of course, came back and at that throw of 88.88, earning him the gold. That, of course, is experience, trumping the new kid on the block. Now, let's talk about Kishore Jena then, shall we? The 28-year-old who hails from India's Odisha is the new javelin star who's the talk of the town. Jena too faced his own troubles in the javelin final. His second attempt was flagged off by officials for making a foul. His foot was nowhere near the line. Neeraj Chopra urged Kishore to confront it with the officials. After it was reviewed, the decision was overturned. But as it's said, all's well that ends well. India clinched a historic 1-2 in the men's javelin event. The two then went to cheer the men's relay 4x400 meter relay team. The boys who broke the Asian record at the World Athletics Championships, Amod Jacob, Mohammad Anas, Rajesh Ramesh and Mohammad Ajmal, finished the race in 3 minutes and 3.1.58 seconds. This quartet doesn't believe in seniority. When they spoke to us after the World Championships finish, like Neeraj, they aspired to put India on the global stage.
So, ma'am, right now, our mainly focus, the focus right now is the Asian Games. So, all of the countries supporting us, they're looking for us. So, we don't want to, we want to make them proud again. So, we'll try our best to do Asian Games, Asian record.
Clearly, I think the image for all of us was right after the 4x400 meter relay got over, Neeraj Jena just ran over onto the tracks to hug the four boys. It's a great moment to sort of keep reliving. And these boys then lived up to that they're talking about. India was comfortably ahead of everybody for a fair part of the race. In fact, defending champions Qatar, who stole the lead at the start, were quickly put behind by a fair distance. The four clinched a gold in the men's 4x400 meters relay, taking up India's medal tally there to another level. Next, we want to speak about Avinash Sable, who continued that winning streak for India. He took part in the men's 5,000 meter race at the Asian Games, finishing second with a timing of 13 minutes and 21.09 seconds. In fact, that's what the sort of timings read for that. He couldn't really come up trumps ahead of the Bahrain athlete who finished gold. But of course, this was fabulous. This is the second time that Sable has graced the podium after his gold exploit in the men's 3,000 meter steeplechase event last week. The 29-year-old hails from the Indian village of Mandwa. He used to work as a laborer and is now one of India's best middle distance runners. From the remote village of Mandwa to the world, his journey is what will inspire generations to come. Sable, in an interview, also said he never believed he would venture into sports. Now, funny that, and just as we are thinking, we've come to the end of our show as well, and we are thinking out loud here. But our last serve here, as we leave you with our parting shot, will make you happier. Pardon the pun, because Ed Sheeran dropped into the dressing room of the Ipswich footballers. Take a look at how it ensued. Right, they were all humming the song and having quite a good time there, meeting a pop star that Ed Sheeran is. On that perfect note, we'll take your leave, but do not forget, coverage of the Cricket World Cup here continues on the Cup of Dreams. I'll see you from another city tomorrow, so do tune in to Firstpost here for all the latest here from the world of sports. Thank you for watching, though. That's all the time we have today. Bye-bye.
Canada's Foreign Minister